Let's go to Ole Miss. All right, let's go.
Whoa, you're going in order and you have Ole Miss.
Yeah,
next.
I have Ole Miss at 5. Ole Miss at 5. It's a stacked SEC West record-wise, right? Stacked SEC at 5. Ole Miss, ceiling 10-2, floor 5-7, prediction 8-4. Okay, my prediction for the Almost Rebels here in 2023 is 8-4. Shout out to my cousin Van, big Ole Miss fan. So if you're tuning in, listen closely. I think I sent him the screenshot of my notes, anyways. But no, tune in right here because we're talking Ole Miss. Talking Ole Miss here. Here are their wins: Mercer, Tulane, Georgia Tech, ULM, Auburn, Vandy, A&M, Miss State. I'd say that's pretty safe to say. Losses are LSU, Bama, Georgia, and Arkansas. Toss-ups are Arkansas, A&M, and Miss State. I think Miss State always has a taste for the upsets in the Egg Bowl, in my humble opinion. I think they always find a way to win that game sometimes. And, A&M, Arkansas, both teams that they could go in there and beat. I like Judkins, like Jackson Dart. We'll get into them, but kind of the key names. I would honestly throw Tulane as a toss-up too.
Yes, I debated that one.
Yeah, honestly, it's not out of the question. I'd say
it's a different Tulane team.
Yeah,
I'd say I think it is. Yeah,
pretty high upset potential. Maybe not a toss-up though. I would say.
Is that an upset even?
That's true, I guess. I mean, they're probably going to be ranked 25th in the country.
Tulane?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give them top 25. But you lose you lose that kind of fire.
I agree.
Michael Pride.
Yeah, I agree. Anyways. Quarterback situation, Ben. Let's talk about that first.
You want me to give me my?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so my ceiling for them, 10-2, floor 7-5. I don't know why I was confused by your thing when my prediction is the same as yours.
We have the same exact record.
I've got wins against Mercer, Georgia Tech, Bama, Arkansas, Auburn, Vandy, ULM, and Miss State.
Okay.
So the difference I have is the losses to Tulane, LSU, A&M, and Georgia.
You have Tulane as a loss. That's hot.
I do, and I have A&M as a loss, which is different.
Yeah, that's different.
So
for sure, yeah.
I just think that I'm just gonna leave it there. We can talk on it later.
Yeah, we can. We're just about to. Quarterback situation, people are overreacting, right? Dart is the guy. Dart threw for almost 3,000 yards and 20 touchdowns last year. Look, he's been in 2 elite Power 5 programs. He was at USC. Now he's with Kiffin. He's in his second year. He'll be one of the better dual threat quarterbacks in college football. I expect a big step up from Jackson Dart this year. I think that's the only way they exceed their prediction and exceed their floor and win 10 games is Jackson Dart's success. Plus Kenshawn Judkins, right? SEC all-freshman, SEC all-first team. This kid is a grown freaking man, 1,500 yards, 16 touchdowns on the ground, and he's probably the key piece of this offense. The key piece.
Yeah.
Judkins, I know I had him as my NCAA 24 cover athlete.
Yeah, he really stepped into that role for that team, and I mean, he did not – he proved it. This guy, you hand him the ball and just let him work. Yeah. And that is something that as a freshman you don't see often. I mean, he had 16 touchdowns.
I know.
As a freshman, crazy. That's like that's exactly what you need. And so if Jackson Dart, like you said, is able to adjust, get better, and help them win those games that Judkins can help keep them in, this team could definitely have potential.
Yeah. Like Judkins, Dart, 2 of the poster boys on this Ole Miss offense, not to mention you have a top 5 portal class because who else except the college football portal wizard in Lane Kiffin. Tons of pickups. My biggest kind of asterisk on where the position they picked up is secondary, right? And especially cornerback spot. You get Tasia Young, the safety from FAU, Justin Hodges, the cornerback from UCF, Jadon Kennedy, the cornerback from Tulane, and Samari Walton, the DB from Georgia Tech.
And Deshaun Gaddy.
Right. Those guys combined for 4 interceptions, over 100 solo tackles, tons of great production in the secondary. That's kind of the spot you needed the most, in my opinion, if you're Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin filled in those spots. Lane Kiffin has made this team solid. Right. Lane Kiffin is a coach that I would like because he just fills in the spots you need through the portal and he fills them in right. Those guys are a really solid group of 5 players from last year. Obviously UCF in the Power 5 now, but look, Kiffin hit the portal big time. He also picked up a wide receiver, 2 wide receivers for Jackson Dart. That's Trey Harris from Louisiana Tech, 935 yards and 10 touchdowns, and Zachary Franklin from UTSA, 1,100 yards and 15 touchdowns. 15 touchdowns. Yeah. They both have potential to be pretty high draft picks. Any takes on this portal haul for the Almost Rebels, Ben?
I mean, it's exactly what Lane Kiffin does, and he just brings in what he wants. And like you were saying, he just does what he needs to do. Yep. And I mean, he is a great portal person, and they bring in 2 quarterbacks, which isn't even something you need, but it's just something that will help solidify the team. It'll bring the team together to where something goes wrong, you're ready for it. You're prepared for it. And that's something that Lane Kiffin is very good at. And so I like this team's portal haul. They make the team better, which is exactly what you need to do in the portal. And so I this portal class could definitely do something.
Yeah, 5 returning starters on defense, 8 returning starters on offense. I like this team. They got veteran experience through the portal, like I said. Even those 2 or 1 or 2 receivers that they don't have that are returning, you replace those guys with Trey Harris and obviously Zakhari Franklin, excuse me. So look, Ole Miss is definitely in a tough spot from a neutral perspective. Ole Miss is kind of floating in the middle of a tough SEC West, right? A lot of people aren't seeing them as good enough to go up here and compete with Bama and LSU, right? They kind of see them under them, but then they're better than some competition, right? They're not at the bottom of the SEC West. I wouldn't throw them down there, with Auburn or teams like that. So I think another solid 8-4 year from Lane Kiffin. You can't really expect anything less with a great transfer portal class. I think they compete, right? Secondary defensive transfers will make or break this team. If those guys can fit in with the defense, I think they'll be perfectly fine. If you have troubles, communication problems, these guys aren't meshing, whatever, because they are still teenagers, right? They're going to have to mesh with other guys. So that doesn't happen for Ole Miss. That could make or break this team. But like I said, Jackson Dart, expect to step up. Huge transfer portal haul from Lane Kiffin. What else would you expect? And good veteran secondary for Ole Miss. Ben, closing up thoughts on the Rebels before I get to my expectations for them.
Right. I mean, this offense is the key thing that you see on this team, and they will need to perform well. Just exactly like that. They will need to be able to keep up with SEC offenses, and I think they have the players to do it.
Sure.
If they can bond well and get the offense to do it, then they should be fine.
Yep.
If the defense is able to step up, that secondary is able to fix their game, and they can just compete, then they could pull out some wins that people could not be seeing.
Yeah. 4 out of the 5 returning up front on offense for the offensive line as well. Mm-hmm. So my expectations for him, Kiffin must make another bowl game, right? If this team misses out on bowl eligibility, they would be, I believe, hitting their floor for me. They would be, let's take a look at the notes here.
My floor is 7-5.
My floor is 5 and 7. So they would be definitely hitting their floor this year if they go out there and miss a bowl game. So I don't see it happening, but you have to win a bowl game. I think 8 wins is probably the expectations in Oxford. I think if you win 6-7 games, fans aren't going to be too happy with that. And they just need to start making a surge to compete with Bama and LSU and make a push for the SEC title game, because that's kind of the spot they're in, right? I think they won eight games last year. If I'm correct on that, I'd almost bet my life on it. Yeah, 8-4 in the regular season, lost to Texas Tech in the bowl game. So you're kind of just floating 8 or 9 wins. I think you had 10 the other year. Never really terrible, right? You're always pretty good under Lane Kiffin, but got to start making steps up and try and make the SEC championship. And look, solid team. Just for me, not really competitive or talented enough to compete with LSU and Bama atop the SEC West rankings.